where the body is concerned, how do we handle it? Many of us are at a loss to know whether we should push ahead, drive ourselves hard, unmindful of what is happening in the body, or should we stay back, take enough rest, or even indulge. We do not know where to draw the line more often than not. Sometimes we take rest and that becomes indulgence. For example, if 1 hour sleep or 2 hours sleep will do, I may sleep for 6 hours, 5 hours, just indulging, because there's no determination. Or I may simply overdrive myself to extraordinary length and finally break down. That could also happen. See, Lord Buddha, in the beginning, he did not know where to go, what to do. So he took a long journey, and in his journey he met different types of advanced souls given to different austerities, different practices. He stayed put with each one of them, picked up some austerity, and at one point he was overdriven. He became skin and bones, no sleep, no eating. He suffered, and then he finally understood it should be the golden middle path. He called it the golden. He simply did not say middle path. So the golden middle path. This golden middle path is advised for every practice, not only spiritual practice. Even temporal practices, even the practices that we have to do in the world to gain knowledge or to gain a grip over anything, we have to observe. It should be the middle path. The minute you think that you are overdriving, you have to stop and rest. The minute you think that you are indulging, immediately recover. Everything will depend upon your own determination. How much you want, how much serious you are about your spiritual life. Whether it has a place over everything else. If it does not have a place over everything else, then you have to, for example, if I live in a family and there are so many people, and people, or not all of them agree with what I do, there are times you have to be very diplomatic, indulge them, so that your spiritual life will be more comfortable. You understand what I mean? இல்லையா? வீட்டில் இப்போ யார் வேறு மாதிரி இருக்காங்க அப்படின்னா, அந்த வீட்டில் இருக்கிறவங்களே நம்ம திருப்தி பண்ணினா தான் நம்ம பாதை நமக்கு ஈஸியாக வரும். அவங்களோட எதிர்ப்புக்கு நடுவில் நம்ம ஒன்று ஆரம்பித்தோன்னா அதுவும் சரியாக வராது. In the beginning, when I started to stay in Tiruvannamalai more often, everybody at home and outside objected to it heavily because I was the breadwinner. I had to work. But this took over. Yogi Ramsuratkumar took over completely, and I had no heart for anything else. Nothing mattered to me, including my own parents. My parents were old and ailing. They needed complete care, and everyone else at home was married. I was the only unmarried person because from the beginning of my life, I was very sure that my life was with God, and I did not give place to the thought of marriage. I told my mother, no such life for me. My mother agreed happily. No Hindu mother would agree happily. My mother, she was also given to spiritual practices, and she said, yes, I know your life would be different. You don't even come into the kitchen, do this work. You just do whatever you are guided to do. She just left me freely, and my father would not interfere either. So I had no trouble except this conscience. They were old and ailing, and married people, accommodating them would be difficult. They had to consider the other people also at home. So, but in such a situation, I walked out. I had to harden my mind, and I had no choice. It was compulsive. Why I am saying, after I came completely cutting off everything, everyone, everything, my job, my relatives, friends, everybody, and I told Yogi Ramsuratkumar he was the only one. I would depend only upon his will. So Yogi Swami shifted to Sudama on November 22nd. He was in a very serious condition. He had a viral fever. The body is still the body, even for the yogis, unless the yogi chooses his yogic power for the body also. Swami was given to surrendering to the will of the Lord all the time. There was nobody, no individual living in him. It was the Supreme Father himself. He had no choice. His body had no choice. So he took the punishment of this viral fever for some reason, and he was suffering. And at that time, I was there with him, and I insisted, either you come over to Sudama, which we have built only for you, with plenty of air and light, and in a quiet place, or you please allow me to stay here to serve you. Finally, he came to Sudama. And then after about 10 days, he got well. He was getting well, actually. It was December 4th. Evening, when we were just sitting together in the veranda of Sudama, this I never told anybody. Suddenly he got up. He said, after 6 o'clock, after darshan here, we went back. He said, Devaki, we shall go to Sannadhi Street House. So the two of us rushed to Sannadhi Street House in an auto, I think. We went there, and then Swami sat in the veranda as usual. He said, Devaki, you go inside. There's a bag full of letters which must have come in these 10 days. 10 days this beggar has been away from the house. So many letters would have come. Just find out and bring it. So I went there and searched, and there was one. True to what he said, he knew all the details all the time. So he knew that some people who were there had collected all the letters, put in one, and so I found it and then brought it. And then when I came out, he said, sit. He made me sit opposite to him, and then he said, take out the letters, one after the other. So I was taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, letter after letter, some envelopes, and then some postcards, and some inland letters, kept falling. After about 25 letters, there was an inland letter, and I took it and threw it. I said, Devaki, stop it. You take that letter. I took it, and then he said, open it. It was an inland letter, I opened it. And then I started it's addressing the Swami in a very humble manner. Said, we know what a great master you are, and anyone who comes to you is in safe hands. We know that also. But sometimes it's very difficult, in spite of what we know about you, to accept things that you do. I shall consider my daughter gone alive. Gone in the sense she is died. Died to us. She is dead to us, to be alive with you. When that sentence came, she said, stop it, Devaki. And that's when I realized, my God, this sentence is very curious. My daughter is dead to us, to be alive with you. Suddenly I got a very uneasy feeling in my stomach, and I saw at the end who it was, my mother. She had expressed it in such a way, Swami said, stop it. And then he said, Devaki, put all the letters back into the cover, back into the bag. Then I knew that he had come there only for that letter. He knew it had come. He knew what my mother was going through. And he knew it was in that bag. And he knew when I took it out. And he must have known the contents as well. It was for my benefit. He did this little leela so that I would take the letter in my hand and I would read it myself, so that I would know what my mother was feeling. Because I was completely indifferent to what they were feeling. Nothing mattered to me, no one mattered to me except Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And then he said, we shall go. So we came to Sudama, and I was thinking, my God, why would she write such a letter to Bhagwan? And I was very angry with my mother. And then after we came into Sudama, he said, Devaki, we have to do something. And you will do exactly what I tell you. He sent word to Rajakumari, who was from Thuthukudi. She was staying in Nadar Lodge at that time in Thiruvannamalai. You have to close, these people don't close it up. That's okay. No. Don't lock it. He's locking one door. So when I saw that, there was turmoil in my heart. My God, why would she write? Why would she do this? Said, Devaki, we are now going to see your mother. She was living in Madurai. We were in Thiruvannamalai in Sudama. And it was about 8:30 night. And here he was declaring, we are now going to Madurai to see your mother. A Swami who never left Thiruvannamalai was insistent that we leave for Madurai. I was stunned, I was shocked. I had no choice. With Swami, you just have to obey. And then I said, why? Why would we go? She would make a scene, she would create a scene, it would become even more difficult. And suppose she wouldn't allow me to come with you again. I would rather die than be with them. He said, no, my father is there, he would see to everything, you don't worry about it, leave it to me. Why would we go? She would make a scene, she would create a scene, it would become even more difficult. And suppose she wouldn't allow me to come with you again. I would rather die than be with them. He said, no, my father is there, he would see to everything, you don't worry about it, leave it to me. But this beggar has to start. I said it was pouring, it was rainy. In those days, December, we had rain and it was very cold and there were strong winds at the time. And he had already had viral fever, he was just coming out of it slowly. And in that condition, he was insisting to go to Madurai. I just couldn't take it, and I was also afraid what would the world say, because everybody was watching. He had just shifted from Sannadi Street to Sudama to be with me, a lady, and I was still young enough. And so there was criticism, there were comments already. So Swami was also in a difficult position. But Swami made one statement, and I had to agree. He said, Devaki, if your people, especially your mother and father, without their blessings, this beggar cannot achieve success in this. This, I'm telling you how much our own people matter to us. When they cry so much, when they feel bitter about something, and you just don't care, be indifferent and walk out, their negative feelings will affect your course of life. This is what Swami gave me to understand. That's why I'm saying, even in spiritual life, where you live, with whom you live, there must be some harmony. You have to have some diplomacy and develop some harmony so that their negative feelings would not come in your way of life. Do I make myself clear? Does it make sense? And Swami took the trouble. So 9 o'clock we started in the night. You see, the next day morning people would come to know in the ashram that he was not coming for darshan. And then Swami was not well, he was still getting well. He was rather slowly coming out of it. And here he was going with me to see my mother. How would the world interpret it? They wouldn't know what was involved. They would only see, oh, Swami is infatuated and Swami is taking to see Devaki's mother. This is all the world would read. This is all the world would see. And it would make its own interpretations, which would be mostly misinterpretations. But then, when we went there, of course, the rest of the story need not be told, but enough to say that my mother completely changed after that when he went to see. And then, of course, returning was so difficult because there was a storm. When we returned, we were caught on the road. It was so dark, no lights, no electricity. The storm, even as we were going, it was brewing. And the storm was in full swing when we returned. So in one place, there was complete pitch darkness and there was pouring rain. blinding rain, and somehow the driver was moving the car, and it was about 11 o'clock in the night. And suddenly the driver stopped and said, Swami was not well, he had fever, and he was leaning on me. And so I tried to make it as comfortable for him as possible in the back seat. So he stopped the car and said, look, I can go no more. There is water, the water has come up to the body of the car, and there is no light, no visibility. I'm not even sure I'm on the right road. I have no idea where I am. Swami, I just can't move. It's better to stay like this till the storm is over. Said Devaki, what is he saying, Devaki? I said, Bhagwan, he's unable to go further. All right, Devaki, I still had his eyes closed. That Devaki, and Rajakumari's son was there. Rajakumari's driver was driving us. And with Swami and me, there was another lady. The three of us were seated in the back. And the driver and Rajakumari's son was there in the front. Devaki asked Senthil, Rajakumari's son, to go to the driver's seat. Let the driver sit and come with us. So Senthil will take over. So immediately they got down, and the driver got down, and Senthil moved to the driver's seat, and the driver came and sat in the front where Senthil was sitting. And then Swami said, Senthil, start the car, Senthil. He started. Senthil, he was lying down like this on me. Senthil, you reverse the car for some time until this beggar tells you. So he started to reverse. Senthil, you stop, now you go to the right side. So he did, and he gave quickly left, right and straight. And then Senthil, what do you see now? Oh Swami, we have come to the main road and there is one light there. Okay, now you drive. Don't let the driver do it. Swami was having fever. He was leaning on me. His body was hot. And I was trying to be... And this the rain was battering against those glasses, the glass doors. We could see pouring rain, zero visibility. And the whole roads were all flooded. Senthil, drive on. And then we drove, and on the way there were many, many trees had fallen, and then we had to stop, and the tree had to be removed, and then again we were pushed ahead, and after some time again another tree would be there. Sometimes there will be people trying to remove it, sometimes no people will be visible. And after we went there, by Swami's grace, people gathered and then they removed it. And that's how, when we started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we reached Tiruvannamalai 2 a.m. The next day, early morning, 2 o'clock. It took so many hours to come through the storm. So this is it. Why I am telling you, two things are important. One is, for your own spiritual sadhana, your harmony with the people around is a necessity. Because after my mother saw Bhagwan in the place Arapalayam, we went to their flat. My mother, you can imagine her condition as she just woke up. She had no idea Bhagwan was coming. It was early morning, 5 o'clock. She just woke up. She had all complaints. She had paralytic attack. She had lost her one eye, and she was heavy, and she had diabetes, BP, all complications. So she She was just lying down most of the time. And suddenly, Bhagwan was there right by the side of her, in physical body. And what was more, I was with her. She was flabbergasted. So, no, wait. She changed her tune completely after that. She said, Devaki, do not leave Bhagwan even for a second, till your last breath. This was the only instruction she gave me. Swami, after we went, Swami prostrated. Swami did namaskar to her. Swami said, Devaki, you also do namaskar. And then after that, he took off the shawl that he was using for a long time and gave it to her. Amma, you keep the shawl with you, and I will keep Devaki with me for father's work. Will you permit it? He held his hand like this and said, will you permit it? My mother was crying. Swami, please don't say, Bhagwan, please don't say such things. I'm a stupid woman and an ailing woman. I'm very sorry for what I have said. You please be with her, keep her, and Devaki, you should not leave him even for a second, for anything. This was her only instruction to me. And then everybody became happy, and Swami satisfied her. And then we started immediately after that. It was 9 o'clock. But then we had to go through a very long, difficult journey. We had to go through a storm to arrive at Madurai. This is also symbolic of what happened afterwards. So our spiritual journey is not an easy, straight one. Sometimes there will be storm, there will be sometime battering rain, blinding rain, there will be darkness around, there will be trees falling on the road, you are blocking your way. But you arrive. Even if it's late, we arrive. And we reach a point at one place, we become utterly helpless, like the driver declared, no more driving. And then the divine took over. Swami said, Sendil, you become the driver, take the car in the reverse, now turn left, turn right, go straight. Now where are you? I'm on the road, Swami. And there is light. This is the journey. It's a spiritual journey where you give up everything for the sake of God. Only God and the difficulties that He gives. So Swami used to say that Shiva took the halahala, Shiva took the poison and made it nectar for his devotees.